It's a word. It's a single word. Yeah, no, like I remember last year, we're gonna do this and then we start, right? I remember last year I went to one of my friend's birthday parties, and she she had a bunch of other friends, and I mentioned, right, that in my department we don't call it the blacklist, we call it the N-word list, because management decided that, oh, it's no longer called the blacklist because that's racially insensitive. We're gonna call it the block list. So we were okay. We're in the Hungarian branch. We're supposed to be racist. You brought race into this, so we're going to make this the natural conclusion of where racists would take this. You brought race into something that had nothing to do with race, so we're going to do this. And should you be allowed to quote words? Yeah. To quote slurs? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, of course, we're not going to do this here because it's the fucking terms of service and whatnot, because it's a bunch of fucking pussies that only care about optics. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. They only care about how something looks. They don't care about how something is. So yeah, no, we had that, and one of the guys, like, you know, I mentioned that, like, we call it the N-word list in protest to management. And one of the guys across from me, like, the guy was, I don't know, he had just come back from like a university in France or some shit, and the guy just goes like completely stone faced, like he almost starts crying. How could you say that? How could you say? Pasty white guy, by the way, pasty white guy, and he starts like, you can't say that. That's the N word. You can't say that. The kid was like 25, and it's like, dude, it's a word. It's a word. It's not that big a deal. And like he starts freaking out, like, dude, did you hear? He said the N-word. He said, how did you feel? How would you feel if somebody used a slur against you and your people? It's like, I've been called a lot of things, dude. I'm Latino. I was in the United States. Plenty of people call me plenty of slurs. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nothing, because I don't have the emotional intelligence of a 4-year-old. Well, I mean, it took me longer to develop my own emotional intelligence. I didn't have emotions for a very long time. But that's beside this point, right? But yeah, it's why white actors can't say the N-word movies anymore. I appreciate that Django it happened. I'm pretty sure that Tarantino could still get away with it. But yeah, they only care about how something looks. They never care about how something is, which is how you end up with a situation like in London, where you have massive gangs of Islamic fucking terrorists at this point who are out there with their objective of mass raping innocent British women for decades, like little girls that get raped and en masse. Which, this is not a conspiracy theory. These are like the Birmingham rape gangs. The what else? There's like 3 more so far, and the police did nothing because they were scared of being called racist. So they allow these people, because the optics of being called racist for prosecuting right now with the whole Somalia fraud thing, the whole Somalian fraud thing. They are so scared of being called racist for prosecuting Somalians that they're just going to let them commit massive amounts of crime. I'm sorry, the culture has shifted because people have realized, wait, we're not children here. There are actual consequences. There's people actually suffering. We actually have to put our big boy pants on and actually start prosecuting these fucking people. And you can call me racist. You can call me sexist. You can call me Islamophobic. It doesn't matter. I don't care how it looks. I care that it gets done. Simple as. Yes. The people that get offended by racist jokes are people that are not part of that race, usually. Usually. Yeah. What does Valid have? The only decently good-looking stick figure? Because he's been investing. I mean, Amaya also has a good one, but yeah. I mean, yeah, people call me sexist a lot. And I mean, it could be that you genuinely have biases against people. That's just human. I thought somebody was knocking on my window, but no, it's fireworks outside. So yeah, no, it's I don't want to say that I want to be racist, but if somebody's doing that to little girls, I will do something about it. That's the thing. I don't consider myself to be like full-on racist. Like, we mainly use it as a joke. Like with Dunkel, we mainly use it as a joke because we find the idea of being racist absolutely funny. Like, for me, racism, like, the idea of racism is hilarious. You're gonna judge somebody by the color of their skin alone? That's funny to me. That's just funny. We got the man who raped her a mutt online. She was jailed longer than the rapist. The Art Sanguine, welcome today. How you doing? And don't worry, you're allowed to speak open. I mean, the only thing we're not gonna do is we're not gonna do the, like, fucking Twitch TOS because Twitch is cut like that. But yeah, no, they aren't technically wrong. Yeah, and this is one of the things that I think is the most problematic out of the whole toxic positivity series of decades that we've had. Hatred exists. People will have certain biases. People will have that. And just shaming somebody into not having it is not enough, because those will still be there. You can... I think it was, I'm going to quote Jordan Peterson again. You can force me to kneel. You can force me to fear you, but you can't force me to respect you. And if I don't respect your points because all you do is cry like a 3-year-old that didn't get their toy at Walmart, every time something slightly doesn't go your way and you start weaponizing institutions against that, I am just going to lose any side of legitimacy that I might have for you. It's simply that. I'm simply not going to see what you say, what you do, or what you are as legitimate in any way, shape, or form. Because it's not. Because if you're caring more about what might people think, what some people might think about that, I'm going to tell you a parable. Here's a story. I'm going to catch up with the chat in a second. Right? Here's a story that I remember from many years ago. Let me tell you the longer version. Right? There was once an elderly couple. And they were trying to go from town to town. They needed to go through several towns. They had a donkey. And, they were elderly. They were, going to visit some family, some distant family. So they were making the journey. And they decided to, pack their donkey with their stuff. Not too heavy, just enough to travel for several days, restock in every town and everything. And they went ahead, and each of them on one side of the donkey, and they went on their way. They made it to the first town, and they started hearing the murmurings of people. What a disgrace of a husband, letting his wife walk next to him when there's a donkey perfectly healthy, capable of her riding it. The old couple listened, and the wife got on the donkey. They went on to the next town. And while they were going through the next town, they started hearing the murmurings of the population again. What a disgrace of a wife, letting her poor old husband walk while she stands comfortably on that donkey. So they swapped places, and they went to the next town. And in the next town, again the murmurings. What a disgrace of a husband, letting his wife walk, his elderly wife walk, while he sits comfortably on that donkey. So they decided to both get on the donkey. They go to the next town, and the murmurings happen again. What a disgrace of a couple, both overloading the poor donkey like that. What a shame, what a shame. So they decided to stop listening and just do what they wanted. That's the moral of the story. Okay, so yeah, and that is it. Like, back when I was in college, the motto of the college was "Esse quam videre," to be rather than to seem to be rather than to appear, and that has been lost to a lot of people. I know who I am. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. You can call me anything. I know who I am. I know what I am. If it's not true, then it's not true. Simple as. I've been called many things in my life. So yeah, by not getting those people into jail, but they're making racism towards them even worse, allowing people to keep doing crimes. Yes, the existence of in and out groups in our mind is literally something like racism has. Being racist isn't good, but in a moral worldview, it's a super mild thing. It's not that big a deal. People are making it way more of a bigger deal because of the things that happen in second and third order effects. That people that act on it and that are not stopped. And one of the things that happens with the toxic positivity types is that they never learn how to deal with hatred. They never learn how to handle their own hatred. You know what happens to them? The moment they feel hatred because they've been suppressing it for so long, what happens? Just ask a leftist how they feel about Charlie Kirk. And you will see. Because these people don't know how to handle hate. Because their toxic positivity culture has been an Ouroboros of endless circle jerking, that it's all nothing but love bombing, and the moment there is a slight disagreement, you're out. So yeah. Definitely nice to hear some things you wouldn't. There you go. So yeah, to close out, I guess this is going to be a BS Talks. Yeah, no. I don't care about slurs. I don't care about slurs. We are of course, following terms of service in these places that I consider to be absolutely just, it's ridiculous. It's a word. The words themselves don't matter. What matters is the context and the connotation and the intention of it. So yeah, disagreement does not equal hate. Yeah, don't take disagreement personally. Explore ideas. They compare Kirk to Floyd, and even if you disagree with Charlie, that's an insane comparison. I've seen many comparisons. Like, Charlie Kirk was 100% not a civil rights, but a civil liberties kind of guy. Like, I started watching a lot of his content. The guy was genuinely just having good conversations. He would get mad every once in a while because, that's what humans do. The guy was just reasonable. The guy was genuinely trying to find common ground, and he would just talk to people. And they couldn't stand it, and they killed him. And they just lie about him because they can't stand the idea that they killed a good guy. Charlie Kirk was like that. You can go to his YouTube channel and just go watch all of his stuff. And most of his events was him on a tent with one microphone himself, one open microphone, and he would just let people walk in and talk to him. That was it. And then the paranoid schizos on Reddit started going on a fucking frenzy, saying that he wanted this and that, and he was this and he was that, this kind of phobe. And they roped themselves into such a massive frenzy that they killed him. So yeah, I watched one skit where this guy said the N-word and his black guy was, and yo man, you're trying to start problems. The white guy said, my dad is black, and the black guy backed off. Why is that even if a white guy says it? Because black people have been victimized for so long that they started believing it. Like, the most horrifying sight for a leftist is one of the people they claim to protect actually overcoming the odds by themselves. Leftism relies on victimhood. And if you stop being a victim, you become the enemy. So yeah, there's one clip where he makes peace between son and father. His intentions were good. You don't need to agree with him. That was the whole point. The whole point is that you could disagree, that you would go there and disagree with the guy. Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the most tame people on the right. Actually, yes. Unironically, yes. Like, I am further right than Charlie Kirk, and I'm like dead center. We are gonna take the political compass at some point in the next in the next few weeks, because the new year I wanna take the political compass. Last time I took the political compass, I was dead center, a little bit to the left. That's where I was a year ago. We will see. So I don't use any social media except YouTube. Yeah, stay away from Reddit. Reddit is an absolute cesspool. Ever since the Tumblr exodus, it's a fucking cesspool. It's atrocious. What, my dad is black and my mom is white. Does that mean I'm mixed or I'm still white? It doesn't matter. Like, ethnically, I guess you are mixed race, which is the biggest hatred that leftists will have. Because they will hate you no matter what. So yeah, people who do political assassinations are genuinely just insane, like actually insane in the head. Charlie Kirk thing wasn't the big thing. It was the sobering reality of seeing the leftist response 100%. 100%. That was the telling part. The disgusting part wasn't just that somebody killed Charlie Kirk, because it could have been just some random guy that worked himself up to a frenzy and he thought like, oh, God told me to do that kind of thing. But it turns out it was a super common sentiment among the left. I have people that I knew from back in college who were celebrating this guy's death in the most demonic way. It's people that never learned how to deal with hatred. children. Overgrown children. And that's the tragedy right there. Because that's a lot of people that definitely got that. Ludam the Beak, there you go. There you go. It is with him. He was kind of chill, but probably condescending sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what activist isn't? Yeah, like Charlie would, like sometimes he would be condescending. 100%. Like that is inevitable because every once in a while you're going to come across some dumb fuck that doesn't know anything about anything and is trying to lecture you about something that you know damn well is completely inaccurate. So yeah, he would sometimes stoop down and be condescending. That was the exception though. That was the exception. And still, even if he was out there yelling slurs at everyone every chance he got, that does not merit anyone killing him. That does not merit you killing it. However, the left decided that it was. Because the left cares more about the optics rather than substance. And now that we've been, 10, 15 years of leftists holding cultural power, we now see the results. A bunch of hollow, rotten on the inside, okay optically, institutions that are full of corruption, that are full of hatred, and that are full of just being completely broken, and that are making people suffer, that are killing people, that are resulting in countless lives destroyed because they couldn't handle the idea of doing something that was necessary but that wouldn't look good. Sometimes a necessary evil is necessary. Sometimes you gotta be the bad guy for the criminal. What was the expression? Mercy towards the guilty is cruelty against the innocent. And it seems like they picked the wrong side, these ones. So yeah. I want freedom of expression. I want people who are bigoted in every single way to still be citizens. That doesn't mean I like them. I just want them to be allowed to be themselves. Rights are for the people that you don't like. Rights are, yeah. You don't give the right of freedom of speech to somebody you agree with. You give the right of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and all those things to somebody that you despise. That is the point of civil liberties and civil rights. You give them to the people that you don't like. Because if you ever get tempted to go against it, they are protected by their rights. And this is something that the leftists never understood. And they still don't understand, and they're probably never going to understand, because at this point they are so deep in their own hatred, disguised as niceness and love bombing and toxic positivity, that unless you break from the code, you're not going to see it. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit or something. Kind of. So a lot of people who saw this assassination likely were traumatized by seeing, oh yeah, it was a traumatizing event, yeah. Yeah, no, like, unless you're somebody fucked up, like a bunch of people that like saw shit on Live Leak or whatnot, yeah, seeing a guy die in front of them like that, even for Americans, most people aren't used to seeing that. So yeah, that's true sympathy, not what the left is doing. To quote Charlie Kirk, empathy is bad. The empathy that the left preaches, and then we're gonna start. The empathy that the left preaches is weaponized against people, and it's a bad thing. It's not good. Empathy is not good, because if you understand how someone feels, what do you do about it next? Sympathy is way better, because sympathy actually means you're gonna actually think about not just how would I feel if I was in that situation, as what would I do? What would I need to do if I was in that situation? So yeah, empathy has been weaponized by the left. Sympathy is the way to go. Because if it's failed, then we need an epistocracy. We have too many race baiters that are mayors, and even the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts, doesn't need to speak English. No, what you need is law enforcement. The democracy hasn't failed. The enforcement system has. Law enforcement has failed, and all that needs to happen is for the police to come in and, ICE and all of these to come in, enforce the law, send everyone that needs to go to jail, denaturalize anybody who needs to be denaturalized, send back anybody who needs to be sent back. Just do it. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the point. Because mercy towards the guilty is cruelty towards the innocent. Anyway, with that, good talk, everybody. Once again, I appreciate everybody keeping their heads, the cool heads. So yeah, there's no perfect way of government. As to quote Jimmy Carr, capitalism is the worst economic system in the history of the world, apart from all of the other ones. Short Shinboy, Short Shinobi, thank you for the follow. Welcome today. How you doing? Thank you for the welcome to the mosh pit. So yeah, speaking of hollow people, yeah, let me go ahead and do this. Good talk, everybody. Once again, I appreciate everybody keeping a cool head during these conversations. This is gonna go up as a BS Talks. Anyway, let's move on to some Hollow Knight.